Um, yeah, I'm going to read some poems from my pamphlet, Immurement, which you can see incredibly pixelated on the screen right now. And then I'm going to read some other stuff. But yeah, I don't really have backstories for my poems. I mean, arguably I do, but I mean, you just focus on visuals, so just take whatever you want. Acorn is a bird. A conceptualized childhood. Could seagulls ride carousels that raised them on enamel? What does the colour grey convey when you grew as a ostringer? It's falconer without the falcon mounted on the mantle. Did it overbalance, though there's no concept, could mistaken aggression in place of gravity, toppling, though to acorn your ideas into a dog's bowl, euphemistic of their loneliness? Are you assigning an owl in lieu of a seagull to triangulate between Chekhov without a lake to lay it there? Second poem. Frontispiece. A reliance on cygonology, the study of jawbones, its definitive edges somehow secondary tonation in ink, the perspective of the outside shell as you would see something that is horizontal, as you would see it differently in depth, negative space, carapace somehow seen from above. This maybe doesn't fit with that, though touches of things, reminiscent, translucency, having sewn constraint. Moriscant means pinning needles, needless wings, the shoulder curve in its lean idealism. I want to reveal things, I do. Sleepless aside. I will tell you about this one. All of the words in it were taken from the translated Japanese Wikipedia page on stuffed animals, and I can't remember why I did that, but I did. Sleepless aside. An actor who wears a stuffed toy is called a stuffed toy. Degradation which goes around pretty appearance is a problem. Filling the insides moulded to resemble animals. Certain the first is said to be the first, making limbs or lower limbs, sewing cloth cut according to the paper pattern, used to replicate the coat sensation on the actor, entering perused by a forbearance. But there is healing effect, charm regardless. And let's see. I'll do two more from this. Albumin. A way of walking was set, telling the position in juxto impressing the shell, the shard, between finger and thumb, translucent where there's want for transparent, taught though lacking collection, some sense seen slipping. Is the borrowed arm a comfort? Something fell for a fraction, noted even in the strip lighting, though it's not unflattering. Opaque could mean the same, misnomering feather for filter would soften exhalation. Final poem from Immurement, Business of the Sun. The inner eyelid lit Schrödinger red, illuminated vessels, the passenger seat nausea, first time feeling ribs, denial of the interior drift. Milk red, uninvasive at best. And now I'm going to read 3 poems that are unintentionally themed around animals. 2 of them have been published elsewhere. One of them has not been published anywhere. So if you want it, anyone? Okay, so the first one I'm going to read was from the Street Cake Experimental Writing Prize in 2019, where I somehow managed to get 2nd, so yay. It's called Dog Walk Slowly. I took a late dog for a walk. I took a dog with a slow walk. I took a dog with lukewarm water. Don't tell people. I'm trying to overtake you. Don't tell people I'm trying to overtake you with conscious lukewarm water. I took a late dog, aside from anywhere, won't panic. Tell people who are trying to overtake, you won't panic. I'm standing on my own, 2 feet late dog. Another everywhere I am, already calm take. Dog walk slowly downer. And the next poem I'm going to read, I'm going to slightly mispronounce the title because it's the name of a Polish director. I believe it's pronounced Wozia, so it'd be Wozia's horse, and it's in parentheses, everyone died. And it's written after, so would it be at the end of 2019 was the last time I left the country, and I went to Poland, and we went to an exhibition for this director, and there was this film called Losna, I believe. And yeah, it's just about this horse in the Second World War, possibly the first. But yeah, it's this white horse that gets passed between all these different cavalrymen, and everyone keeps dying. So yeah. The last work has taken long, presumed enough, some 6 years, arguably undertow of ever. She passes gestures from simultaneous soldiers shaped like swordsmanship, misjudged and sliced off abbreviations, equine in our end, luminous red on white. And everyone who rides her dies, not because she brings bad luck, but because everyone dies. And the interesting thing about this poem, so it was published by Perverse, and it was in this collection where it was written that these were all like quite sad poems, but I don't think it's that sad a poem. I think it's kind of funny in a dark way, but I don't know that anyone else gets that. So if you got that, hooray. My final poem for this evening is about a fox, no fox in particular. I was part of the Crossing Lines anthology from Broken Sleep recently, and I have a fox poem in there too. I like the idea. There are like several poets who like write entire little collections around a single animal. And I really wanted to do that, but I've only got 2 poems, so, but still. So this poem is simply called A Fox. A fox walks into a museum and asks for an audio guide. The staff member behind the desk informs it, that this is not the start of a joke. That there are more pressing concerns than a lanyard looped around a vulpine neck, and the functionality of buttons for unopposed thumbs. The security guard is a kind of bird that thinks being of prey makes it godlike. It doesn't. It remains flappable, catching its claws on the fabric of passing skirts. The security is untethered, precariously perched, and one day it will be asked to leave quietly, escorted out under dust covers, protected against the sun. The fox passes through, weaves between ankles, already mouthing the headphone cord in concentration, contemplation, perceived disapproval of the absence of Bluetooth. It follows, but a fox becomes lost easily among the signs, signifying nothing save that they are not a fence post to gnaw at. A fox approaches the nearest employee, shakes their hand in apology. They know it is the fault of the bird's insecurity, and the fox is blameless in all.